Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. So glad that we got on live and good to see you. Thank you for being here. Those of you who are live and those of you who watch us later, we thank you. You're the reason we come here. So if you have questions that would be of interest to our whole audience, just put them in the comments below or you can email them to me. If you have personal questions, I'm happy to answer those as well. Just give me a call and we'll get you set up for a session. All the information as to the cost of sessions and when we can do it. My phone number that's on my website, and my website link is below, and it's just my name, Diana Rankin. So what we're going to do today is we are going to in a conversation with Phillip, and it's can we heal others? Why does it seem like we can sometimes but not other times? So we're going to answer that question for you. We want to first of all say hello to Juliet, who's come on live. Hello, Diana, and beautiful Piper. Hello, Juliet. And Piper's doing pretty good. You've asked about Piper. Yes, she was diagnosed with bladder cancer. Hopefully she's going to heal, or she's doing great. It is really what I want to go. We have a holistic doctor, a holistic vet, and he's hopeful but cautious. And as he says, we just enjoy every day. We're still playing ball. She's eating fine. Everything is normal, except every once in a while we have a little accident. Thankfully, we have wooden floors. So, but she's over here beside me. I'm sure you'll see her curl back up in her little office bed before we're done here. In the bedroom, she has this great big bed, like she has out in the great room. She has a big bed, and she sleeps in the big bed. But she also has literally a kitty bed, which is this one behind me. It was one of the beds for my cats, and she loves those little beds as well. So in the one in the bedroom, it's like she's spilling out of it, but she loves it. So anyway, I'd like to take a few minutes up front just to chit chat, to say hello to those of you who come live. So we're going to go ahead now and answer the question, see what Phillip has to say about can we heal others? Why does it seem like we can sometimes, but not other times? Here we go. There are those who heal by touch and or by thought. Or, as you might say, there are those who heal by touch or in person, and there are those who heal remotely. There are healers who heal others via changing and moving the energy. There are those who work with the body directly. Both are healers, and so is everyone who sends love and peace, kindness and understanding to another. If we simply just say a prayer, whomever we believe, spirit, God, universe, love, if we just simply say a prayer, what Phillip is saying here is everyone who sends love and peace, kindness and understanding to another is helping with the healing. Let's go on. So everyone has the potential to be a healer. We say potential because to be a healer, one must move into a space of love while healing one's self or another. The highest form of healing is to love oneself. However, not all healers have reached this form and are still able to heal others. This includes whether a shaman, energy healer, mind, emotional healer, or body healer, including both body workers and traditional medical workers. The most effective healing is when the healer allows the higher self to work through them. This is when the ego must step aside. However, the human mind and spiritual mind must work together for the safe healing to take place. We've all known medical personnel or healers in most areas who the ego gets in the way. They want to tell you how great they are and how right they are. And what Phillip is saying is that ego has to step aside. for the real healing to take place. He's also saying, however, self-love, that's where we must heal ourselves first. And then he goes on to say that we also, the human mind, not the ego, but the human mind, which is bigger than just the ego, the human mind and the spiritual mind must come together. So that means if somebody tells you to do something for healing and you just know they're not using the practical mind, the two must come together. You don't jump off a cliff to heal. That's not the answer. And that's what Philip is telling us. So the human practical part of our mind coming together with the spiritual part of our mind. And that's where we actually do the healing. Those of us who have learned to love ourselves first, there's an advantage to healing others once we heal ourselves. Philip goes on to say, now let us address why the healing does or does not help the one in need from their perspective. The one being healed, they must believe in the healer and they must accept the healing. This requires the one being healed to believe the healing is possible and believe they deserve the healing. The healer is responsible for being in love when healing. The recipient must also be able to receive. This is true whether or not the one receiving healing is aware of the healer's intent. The recipient may also receive the healing, but a few days later reject it. I want to stop before I read the last paragraph and tell you a story. This goes back many years. A friend was here and she asked for healing. Her leg, there was a sore in her leg, and so, or a pain in her leg. And so we did some energy work and she was amazed. She said, it doesn't hurt at all. This is a miracle. And 3 days later, she called me and she said, it hurts again. What happened? And my response to her is, why did you take it back? So the healer is not responsible. We are just the channels of the God energy, the spirit energy, the healing energy that moves through us that we can then give to another. Again, whether in person, hands-on, or through the energy itself, through prayer, through love, through doing energy work remotely, however you choose to help heal another. But we're not responsible if the person accepts it. The last paragraph that Philip gives us is the healer is responsible for the purity of the healing, but not for the actual healing. That is up to the receiver. I'm going to read that again because I think everything that Philip says here comes down to this. The healer is responsible for the purity of the healing, but not for the actual healing. That is up to the receiver. So again, as healers, we're just the channel. We're the one that the energy moves through for helping the healing. And if we do that in love, it's much more powerful. So remember, the healer is responsible for the purity of the healing, but not for the actual healing. That is up to the receiver. Well, hello, Guida. She says, happy Friday to everyone. I'm ready for Friday this week, believe me, even though I'm going to be in the office tomorrow part-time. I'm ready for today. Okay, here we go. I'm hearing right. If you heard right, we're in sync intuitively. If you heard left, that's a message you need to pay attention to. So right is page 67. When God speaks to you, it may be through the voice of a friend, the whisper of an evening breeze swaying the branches of a willow tree, the laughter of a child, the coo of a bird, or within your own tears. You know, I always am amazed how the message we get from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, how it works right with, and you just see I flip through the book, but the message always works right with our message here. This one's a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but I don't have a better word, but a bit more of a stretch in a way, but yet it's not a stretch because we're talking about healing. And the self-healing comes first. So when God speaks to you, it may be through the voice of a friend, the whisper of an evening breeze swaying the branches of a willow tree, the laughter of a child, the coo of a bird, or within your own tears. And if that isn't healing, I don't know what is, because that's a beautiful way of healing. Everything that we see, if we're asking for healing, everything that comes to us can be healed, can be a method of helping us heal. On page 66, that's page 67. If you heard left, this is a message for you. Are not your vices your virtues, and your virtues also your vices? Oh, yes. Are not your vices your virtues, and your virtues also your vices? Yes, I love it. Juliet says, question if you feel like answering. Do you think Phillip means that the recipient needs to accept the healing on the spiritual level, or is it possible to only accept the healing on the human level? Both. I think we automatically pretty much accept on the spiritual level because the healing is coming to us both from the spiritual level and the human level. And so I think if we just open to the healing, it's going to automatically be on the spiritual level. So it's the human level that may resist. And as the human level may resist, that's where we have to ask ourselves, why am I resisting? Why do I want to keep this pain or this illness or whatever? And there may be reasons for keeping an illness. It isn't always that we need to give it up. It may have gifts, or others call lessons, that we need to listen to. And so we can't accept the spiritual side of us may stop the healing from taking place on the human part of us because we still have that gift to receive or that lesson to get. Or we may need the healing for a purpose. For example, we understand someone who's going through a terrible illness only because we've been ill. If we've never been ill, it's pretty hard to understand the depth of what an illness can do, can change your life. So there are reasons to have the illness. But once we are able to look from our human side and allow the spiritual side to come through, then we're able to heal that which the illness is teaching us. And with that, we're then able to accept on the human side the healing. So, for example, the friend who had a leg problem, she accepted the healing, but it was accepted by the human, and then the human also rejected it, but had to ask. The human needed to go deeper and say, why did I reject this? Why is it coming back? The spiritual side is always healed. The spiritual side has no illness or has no upsets. Or the spirit is pure, and it's pure love. It's our human selves. Now, again, spirit works through our human self. So I don't mean to sound like a contradiction when I say spirit may ask us not to heal because we have a lesson to learn or a gift to receive. I hope that answered your question, Juliet, without getting too complicated. I love, Juliet says, thank you. Thank you for asking it and helping me to clarify that as we go along. All right, my friends, Piper's still over here at the side. So we're going to go ahead and say goodbye for today. We'll see you next week. And again, please ask your questions. We're happy to answer them if we can. And usually Philip's pretty good. I love you. Bottom line is love. That's it. Love yourselves. Love each other. Even that doesn't mean we don't say stop. Your behavior doesn't work for me. Stop. That doesn't mean we don't speak out. But we have to love the spiritual side of everyone. That's what we do for ourselves. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for receiving our love. Bye for now.